Poetry is an art form, and it is built on nuance. In the past, people thought of it as the kind of thing with hidden depths, meaning, subtext, something that appreciative readers felt touched them deeply. You never really understood a poem at first glance, and maybe that was the beauty of it. But over the decades, something has changed. Today, much of the verse we see, especially on social media, feels simple, downright simplistic even. Goodbye nuance, farewell rereading and reflection, hello shitty maudlin poems that scan like Live Laugh Love for the TikTok generation. Now, bad poetry is everywhere, overlaid across day-in-the-life videos, in god-awful affirmation Instagram posts, and decorating framed Etsy prints and twee bookmarks. They're even in bank commercials and Coke ads. Let's call it the Rupi Kaur effect. The 30-year-old Indian Canadian's poetry started gaining traction after 2014, when she exploded onto the literary scene with her self-published poetry collection, Milk and Honey. It became a New York Times bestseller in 2017 and has been a staple there ever since. Though Kaur's work was critiqued by many from the get-go, it was, at one point in the 2010s, impossible to escape Instagram or Snapchat stories featuring her poetry. Its artfully placed but basic lines, easily parsed by the average English language reader, slotting easily between Instagram posts of wellness smoothies and influencers channeling goopy Gwyneth Paltrow-ness. Best of all, Rupi Kaur's poems are short. Each poem in Milk and Honey averages around only 3 to 5 lines. I believe we've seen a shift towards oversimplification in poetry because of our increasingly limited attention spans, says Dominique Middleton, author and associate strategist at the content firm Code Word Agency. If the whole poem can't fit in a 1x1 Instagram frame, a tweet, or within a 30-second TikTok, it will likely miss fame. I think it's a full-on culture shift to which poetry has also acclimated. Minimalism, often referenced but very rarely understood, might be part of the reason why people are drawn to these short poems. Their brevity is equated with minimalist chicness, the poetic equivalent of the clean girl aesthetic, though few of these basic verses have much to do with the artistic abstraction that's key to minimalism. The oversimplification corresponds directly with the fact that poetry can now be instantly produced and shared in front of a ready audience, says Naima Rashid, author, poet, and brand strategist. Since numbers are all that matter here, the minute you have anyone, whether discerning or not, consuming your work and considering it poetry, you have a following. In this cycle of ease and access, the barrier to entry is lowered. Any form of quality check is naturally thrown out of the equation. Before the advent of social media, it was relatively difficult for up-and-coming poets to access publishers and gain success. Now, thousands of people share their work on TikTok under hashtag poetry community and hashtag poetry is not dead. Suddenly, anyone can post their creations online and call themselves a poet. This seeming democratization of the poetry world has, however, led to the rise of some pretty terrible poetry, especially on TikTok. New-gen poets like Eliza Grace have grown increasingly popular while simultaneously being accused of plagiarism. And this reductive style of poetry is bleeding into other parts of pop culture, not least in the seemingly endless streams of spoken word, slam poetry-infused advertisements. Many new-gen social media poets follow the formats used successfully by Rupi Kaur. That is, breaking up basic sentences into digestible phrases, spacing them oddly on the page or screen, and using italics and bold type to suggest intricacy and thought. The issue isn't that young poets are sharing their writing online, it's that their work is shared in a vacuum, explains Yasmin Belkir, a writer, literary editor, and founder of literary magazine Winter Tangerine. I'd say that the majority of poetry being written and shared on social media today exists outside of the context of living literary tradition, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be terrible, but rather that these poets have no guidance, no inspiration, and no nuance.
Bah. Like, subscribe, notification bell, join the herd.